Then Harry's like, oh, we just want our privacy. Releases an audio book talking about his Todger. Are you mad, bro? And then they're like, yeah, we just want people to leave us alone. Sign a Netflix deal. Just like,
Okay. So you know how we think it can't get any worse? This might be the worst one. I can't even lie.
John's my father and he's also my partner.
I don't want to watch
You
this.
heard correct. You heard correct.
That's disgusting. That is disgusting.
She said what?
That's my father and also my partner.
Oh no.
What state are they in? Are they in the UK?
We like actual partners.
I think it's America because she kind of sounds a bit like them twins that always talk the same.
Yeah. Let's hear what she has to say.
Not saying she sounds like them, but the voice sounded a bit the same in that first 2 seconds. But anyway.
We don't see each other as father and daughter. I don't see John as my father, even though he is my biological father.
That's right, John and Jenny are biological father and daughter. He's 61, she's 39.
We're normal intellectual adults who have had careers, have had a normal life like everybody else, but fallen in love with each other when we are biologically related.
I guarantee you have not had a life like everybody else. I don't know how old you were when your dad put it on you, but you are
That's what I'm saying. How do you even get to that point?
He's clearly he's a child abuser, obviously. I mean, he's made her think that this is normal. She's saying that we've had a normal life like everyone else. You definitely haven't. The only spanner that I can see here is that they did lead a normal life, and then one day in adulthood, they were both just like, let's just keep it in the family.
I class myself as a man who's met a woman and we got romantically involved.
Knowing it was wrong in so many ways, John and Jenny walked away from their respective partners and set up home together in South Australia. They would break the greatest taboo of all. Jenny fell pregnant with their baby.
What am I listening to right now?
For example, he would have been with her mum, let's say. She would have had a partner, and they've both ditched their partners to be together.
Bro, imagine you get dumped by your girl and you see her with her dad on Instagram.
Oh man. Well, in one breath, you dodged a bullet.
Yes, kind of.
In the other breath, you have to live with the fact that you bedded that one. Like, once upon a time, you were sleeping with this person. From what it sounds like to me,
That's insane.
It doesn't. So I was under the assumption that he was a predator and he had brainwashed her into thinking that this was normal. But now,
full-grown adults that make these decisions.
What it sounds like to me is that they were married. He cheated on his wife with his daughter, and she left her husband and got with her dad.
But it's just weird to think that he would have raised her as his child and then eventually got to one point where he's like, I'm in love with her.
How does that happen?
That is creepy.
That is wild. But then also, let's not absolve her. She heard that and she was like, yeah, this makes sense.
Who put it on who first?
I do not want to know who stuck it on who first. I just want to know when the government's going to get involved.
But the government won't get involved because, like, for example, in certain states in America, it's so normal.
You want to say Alabama, don't you?
Well, we saw videos of it before.
I mean, if that's what your state is known for. I think in some states in America, it is... Hold on, let me check, actually. Incest.
Check if it's legal in Australia.
Boy, my search history is going to be so wild today, man.
You know, sometimes you think, like, oh, where in the world is your soulmate? Have you met your soulmate yet?
Oh, now I'm wondering, where are their souls? Clearly in the ninth circle of hell.
There are incest laws in America between children, parents, siblings, grandchildren, and grandparents in most states. Some states also don't allow intimate relationships between aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, all that.
So Alabama's cool.
I actually don't know about Alabama. Hold on.
All right. Well, I don't want to throw Alabama under the bus if we don't know. So I'm going to take that back.
Oh, Alabama.
You didn't think it was wrong, let alone illegal, to be in a sexual relationship with your daughter?
I knew it was illegal, of course I knew it was illegal, but, so what?
It's not too bad.
He's not too bad in what sense?
As in man-woman sense. And like you might look at a man across the bar at a nightclub.
Incredibly, their story's not as rare as you might think. In fact, as you'll see, it's a remarkably common phenomenon around the world. Danielle and Nick have the same mum, but grew up as strangers after Nick was placed in foster care. The pair desperately tried to keep their relationship secret. For one, they knew it was taboo.
This reminds me, do you remember we done a video before and the person wrote an anonymous thing online for advice that she'd been in a relationship with this guy for like 3 years or 8 years or whatever it was, and then found out that it was actually her brother because they were both like adopted.
Yeah.
And then she was like, what do I do? Because I'm in love with him, but he's my brother. And this is like, this is the same situation.
Is it though?
Yeah, these two have said that they've got the same mum. They were in foster care or something, didn't know it, and then found out and stayed together.
I read about this actually.
Yeah,
that was in the UK, innit?
Yeah, I think I read about this as well. That one is different to the first one. Before we move on to this one, I just need to say that guy and that woman, they obviously have mental issues because that's your father and he was well aware. He was there when your mother pushed you out.
No, Michael, you've misunderstood me. I'm not talking about the dad and the daughter. That one's completely different. This two's a different couple now.
Before we move on to this one.
Oh, okay, cool. I just want to make sure you didn't think I was trying to compare the two because that is completely different.
Yeah, no. What I was saying was that guy is sick in the head, and so is his daughter. They both left marriages or relationships. That guy was there when the woman pushed her out of her vagina, and he held her and he raised her, and now he's impregnated her. That is such an insane situation. This one's different, even though this one is still gross. They didn't know. They found out after they were in love. It's a sticky situation. I don't know how to navigate that. Personally, just standing here right now, I would just call it quits.
Yeah.
But I will, that's probably easier to say than do if you're in love with someone.
But also there is complications that come with having kids with a family member. Like I swear the kids would come out a bit disabled, or there's a risk of it coming out disabled.
Have you seen The Hills Have Eyes?
I haven't seen it, no, but I saw that video that we watched before and they were all just a bit...
Yeah, and that was real. That was real and that was scary to look at.
Yeah.
And it's quite sad as well that people... Because your brain doesn't develop properly.
Yeah,
apparently.
so it's selfish as well.
Yeah, it's extremely selfish. I mean, if you're going to do it, it's one thing and you don't care about the laws around that. But then to bring kids into the world... that's a bit wild to me.
So like you have the child and that is your son and your grandson.
Oh my God.
I mean, the main issue is that such children suffer from all kinds of disabilities, right? Or they're way more prone to having disabilities at birth.
Yeah.
For another, Danielle was married. But one afternoon, Danielle and Nick's mum discovered them having sex.
She walked in on us in Danielle's flat, on the couch effectively, and called us a pair of scumbags and then walked back out. And she ended up calling the police effectively. So it wasn't too clever a time.
What, your mum dobbed you in?
Yeah. Okay, I want to ask you for your opinion.
This is wild.
What's your opinion on like if a stepbrother and sister was to get together?
What, and they're not blood related?
No, they're stepbrother and sister.
Yeah, but that can still be blood. You can
be
half.
Like for example,
no relation.
A man with his son has gotten with a woman who's got a daughter, and his son and her daughter, who are not blood related, have become stepbrother and sister because the mum and dad have got married, but now them two fell in love and wanted to be together.
Okay, so there's two ways that I look at this. If that's the case and you grow up together, I think that's your sister. You've grown up together. Why are you harboring sexual feelings for them? If you're an adult, let's say that they're your age, right? And you have a guy come into the house. He's a complete stranger. By law, he's your stepbrother. But you haven't grown up together. He comes into the house. You hit it off straight away. He's not your brother. So he is just a stranger. He's step by association. I have less of a problem with that. But if you are like you're young Sabi, you're 3 years old, another 3-year-old comes into your house, you grow up together, and then you get to 30 and you're like, maybe we should tie the knot. I'm just like, what happened? What went wrong? Like, what happened to the brother and sisterhood? So,
what about you?
I agree with that, I guess.
Okay.
I can be fair to the adults who are unsuspecting that their parents are going to bring another adult into their life. If you grow up with somebody and it's been brother and sister ever since, and then you decide I'm going to sleep with this person now, A, it's selfish. B, it's kind of lazy because there's so many people on the planet. You really could not be bothered to just go outside and find someone else. So now your whole family has to deal with this awkwardness. I ain't got no sympathy for those people.
They were shunned by their families and charged with incest. Now, on probation, they're free to live together, but if they ever have sex again, they'll end up behind bars.
The maximum prison sentence for incest is
I mean, if they ever get caught having
Yeah.
sex again.
How are you going to police them? You got like a tag on them that have they attached like a Fitbit to them to see how quickly the steps are going up or something like. You're not going to be able to. I mean, if you were going to criminalize it and the basis of the criminality was that they were together, wouldn't you say you can't be within 100 feet of each other or whatever? Like, if your concern is that they're going to have sex, you know they're going to have sex when no one's looking. You know that.
maximum prison sentence for incest is actually life imprisonment in Scotland.
It's a big thing to have hanging over your head.
It's huge, especially when we love each other as much as we do.
Do you know what that is? Like, imagine every time you're having sex, you're just bare paranoid that you're going to get, like, caught out.
That might be a kink for them, though.
Australian authorities charged John and Jenny with incest after they too were dobbed in by relatives. They're on a 3-year good behaviour bond, and for them as well, sex is out.
John, the courts want you to stop having a physical relationship.
Yes.
Can you do that and keep the relationship together?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
They're just lying
lying.
because they're on camera.
He probably
That yes was so quick as well.
He 100% gave it to her before the interview and just said to her, listen, you say what needs to be said. He's not going to say no, is he? Otherwise, he's not going to get to sleep with his daughter anymore. He might be sick, but I'm sure he's not that dumb.
John and Jenny insist there are no victims in their relationship. But therapist Joe Soul believes their children, Alex and Samantha, and especially Celeste, will be psychologically scarred by their upbringing.
Don't you think it's funny that he called the daughter Celeste? It also rhymes with incest.
The child will
Yeah.
probably get bullied at school as well.
Especially if she's called Celeste and it rhymes with incest.
Yeah, that's
That's
of all
so
the-
Yeah,
easy. Oh
very,
my
very
days.
selfish.
I've come up with like 3 bars just now sitting here.
That's a crazy thing. There's so many reasons for why I find those people extremely selfish. Like, it's one thing to have sex with your sister or your brother. It's another thing to bring children into the world. And now and then also call the child Celeste. Like, you set the kid up for failure. You set the kid up for failure. You already messed up everyone else's lives around you having to deal with that fact. My ex-wife is now married to her dad. So that guy's got to tell his friends that. They're probably going to clown him for the rest. Can you imagine signing on to Call of Duty? That's all you're going to get cost for. And then the mother knows that her daughter, her offspring, her spawn, took her man.
Yeah.
That is all kinds of crazy. And then
Imagine
to top it
losing
all
your
off,
man to your daughter.
what does that make the mum? The mum is, what does that make her to her daughter's children?
She's still a grandmother.
She's the grandmother and
that
she's
the stepmom. No, not really, though, because they're not together anymore. She's just a grandmother.
Jesus Christ. Well, it's a sick world we live in, so.
Just a sick world we're living in. Sick people.
By the way, incest is illegal in Alabama.
Okay, thank you for clearing up. I'm very sorry to the people of Alabama. I will visit your state.
There is a reason why you have that reputation, Alabama. F***ing sort it out.
Hey, he doesn't represent our views on him. We ain't got no problems with Alabama people. Do you call them Alabamians or
Albanians.
Albanians? I'm gonna leave that in.